Hi, my name is Ted. Ted Rosdale. Chances are you heard of me. I used to be just Ted from procurement, but nowadays, they call me the man who brought in BricsCAD. In a way, things were much simpler back then. Summers were warm, winters were cold. Our designers only had 1 or 2 options for their software. Canceling your subscription simply meant you lost all your work. Nobody ever picked up the phone at any help desk. I had a small office in the cellar. Typically, it took me about 14 seconds to get from my moderately priced car to my office. Life was simple. But then, all hell broke loose. Reason? BricsCAD. I read about them. I ordered their CAD software. All of a sudden, designers had smiles on their faces. Morning, Carl. Love you, bro. Engineers stopped calling in sick. Revenue went through the roof. And it didn't take very long for people to find out who's responsible for all that. Indeed, yours truly. And so they all went, goodbye, Ted. Hello, man who brought in BricsCAD. That's how long it takes to gain immortal superhero status. 10 seconds. The time to place one software order. From my car to my office, 4 minutes and 38 seconds. This used to be a Timex, by the way. Now it's a Rolex. Life has changed. Now in hindsight, would I do it all again? Hell yeah.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the BricsCAD V20 Customer Showcase. Okay. So I got to admit, Ted is not a real customer. In fact, almost everybody you saw in that video was a Bricsys employee. We thought we'd bring Ted back for a quick visit before we get into some real customer stories, and we hope that you actually enjoyed the levity. We've been talking with many of you about BricsCAD since the start of this webinar series back in early April. I mean, time flies, right? But today, we're going to switch it up and let 4 of our customers tell you their BricsCAD stories. I'm Don. My colleagues Robert Green and Julie Kavarian will join us here on stage in today's session, and our Director of Partner Development, Ana Maria Romeo, is standing by to answer your questions. So just type them into the Q&A box on your GoToWebinar screen at any time. We'll answer them as we can. Julie and I we'll take you through the first 3 user stories, and then she'll show you a short, powerful product demonstration of BricsCAD V20. Then we'll hand it off to Robert Green and Vince Venus. Now, Vince is a BricsCAD customer and the CAD manager at Gas Liquids Engineering of Alberta, Canada. Robert and Vince will take you through the process of moving from A to B, and Robert will close with an overview of our implementation services. So let's get started. When you leave this session today, we want you to remember 3 things. It's easy. Here's the first. BricsCAD is a family of CAD products, the modern and cost-effective and highly compatible alternatives to the popular CAD, LT-CAD, BIM, and mechanical design products that you use today. Now, this family-centric approach really appealed to our first spotlight customer. Here's their story.
Our design motto is Kodo, or Soul of Motion. We want to make strong products that impress our customers. We rely on BricsCAD for the layout of our factory assembly lines, for the design of our tools, and things like that.
Our
industry is very innovative, and everything is moving towards 3D now. Our BricsCAD license is one that we can use for both 2D and 3D. The volume of 3D modeling work is rapidly increasing, and I expect BricsCAD to support a smooth transition from 2D CAD to 3D CAD. Some of our staff were already familiar with BricsCAD, and most of them had already installed it, so the transition went smoothly and was frictionless. BricsCAD is a software that has no flaws and is at the same time very economical. That allowed us to buy more licenses and really smooth our workflow. We have a lot of plants overseas, and production is increasing rapidly. So, the fact that we can use the same licenses also overseas is definitely a factor, and it will help us shape our future. Ready for the future? Move to BricsCAD today.
So you heard Masahiro Abe from Mazda's Body Production Engineering Department. He's excited about the BricsCAD family of products' ability to support both their current 2D drafting processes and tomorrow's advanced 3D modeling workflows. Now, BricsCAD's familiar user interface and the consistent user experience speed users' transitions from conventional drafting to 3D modeling in the easiest fashion possible. Does this look familiar? Well, it goes much deeper than it looks. High compatibility means that AutoCAD users can be comfortable in BricsCAD in 1 hour and proficient in an afternoon. The user interface looks very familiar right out of the box, and you can modify it to suit your every whim and need. But perhaps more importantly, the user experience is the same. As my friend Robert Green says, never forget what you already know. The same workflows, the same terminology, the same support files, 100% compatible command structures. It's pretty amazing. And BricsCAD is exceptionally comfortable for everyone. Now, what are the folks at Mazda so excited about? Well, the fact that the BricsCAD product family supports 2D drafting, 3D modeling, building information modeling, and mechanical assembly design in one product with a single workflow. Now, we call this full stack product BricsCAD Ultimate. The 30-day free trial of BricsCAD is BricsCAD Ultimate. So when you download and try BricsCAD, you're getting all the products in one package. Your trial installation becomes a full commercial license when you enter a valid license key. And all editions of BricsCAD link directly to Bricsys 24/7. Our cloud-based collaboration and data storage environment. There's an in-product communication panel for 24/7 in each one of the BricsCAD editions. And from that panel, you can communicate directly with your colleagues, view, download, upload, and version files through the Bricsys 24/7 cloud service. When you leave this session today, we want you to remember 3 things. Here's the second thing. BricsCAD is a development platform. It's a modern and powerful CAD engine supporting over 400 world-class application products. Now, the BricsCAD runtime extension, BRX, is code compatible with Autodesk's AutoCAD runtime extension, ARX. This application programming interface lets developers write code in C++, C#, .NET, and Lisp. If you write applications for AutoCAD, you really need to check out BricsCAD's BRX. And if you use CAD applications, you really need to check out BricsCAD, as there are more than 400 industry-specific application programs on the BricsCAD App Store. So let's hear from our next customer, Stageco of the Netherlands, and I'll ask Julie to come on after and tell you a little bit more about their use of BricsCAD.
My name is Paul Schijfsma. I'm Senior Engineer and Head of the R&D Department of Stageco Netherlands. We build stages for big tours and festivals. For a company like Stageco, it's very important to own your own software and CAD licenses. Because there's so much relying on the drawings, there's so much relying on the whole CAD system. From just the simple drawings, which are the first indicator of what a construction is going to cost, until load lists and the drawings for the people who have to build the structure. BricsCAD is most important in our work because of its functionality, the speed in which it works, the speed in which you can see all the aspects of the drawings. Definitely a big time saver. We've had CAD programs in the past which were also DWG based, and when you have a large drawing, because we do pretty large constructions with a lot of parts, and when you then want to rotate or zoom in or zoom out, you just have to wait again and again. And all the structure is pretty open, the program is pretty open to make own applications for your specific needs. Besides the speed that BricsCAD brought us, it also brings a big advantage in the Dutch event industry, because there's a company in Holland which has made a shell around BricsCAD, which is especially made for the event industry, and also has a lot of libraries, like libraries with light, with scaffolding, with PA, with video. So it makes it very easy to exchange drawings or to upfront see where problems are going to occur. My name is Paul Schijfsma, but now I'm known as the guy who brought in BricsCAD at Stageco.
Here's what Paul Schijfsma, Senior Engineer and Head of R&D from Stageco, says about the power and application programs that run on BricsCAD. As he said, there is a company in Holland that makes a program for BricsCAD that is especially created for the events industry. It has libraries for lighting, scaffolding, PA, and video, so it makes it very easy for us to exchange drawings and upfront see where problems might occur in our design. By the way, if you're in the stage design and construction business, you should check out the SCAD reInvent. That's the product that Paul is referencing in this video. It's just one of 400 plus applications built on BricsCAD's BRX API. And BricsCAD offers many, many more third-party applications for 3D design, AEC, civil engineering, electrical design and HVAC system design, plant design, and structural engineering design too. You can discover more on the App Store at brixis.com. As Don said, if you develop applications for AutoCAD ARX, you really need to check out BricsCAD. So contact us today.
Julie, thank you so much. I appreciate that. And Julie will be back in just a couple of minutes to take you through a presentation of BricsCAD and show you more about the power of the product live. Now, when you leave this session today, we want you to remember three things. Here's the third thing. BricsCAD delivers an all-in-one workflow for 2D drafting, 3D modeling, building information modeling, and mechanical design. This means that a manufacturer of architectural building products doesn't need to change their software to integrate BIM and manufacturing. Intrigued? Meet our customer, Prototyp.
My name is Christo Genchev and I'm Managing Director of Prototyp and is a facade engineering office. BricsCAD covers all of 2D and almost all of the 3D tools you need. It combines features from almost all software packages that we use, and it integrates them in one software product. It uses a very widespread data format. That's a DWG data format, which is de facto standard in CAD industry. And in addition to that, you can, as we work in the construction industry, you're able to create BIM models, which is also something that we need. more often and more often in our job. But what distinguishes BricsCAD is, of course, the sheet metal module, which is very helpful. Engineers are not determined by the tool they're using; they're determined by what they know. And in some cases, the 3D path is more productive, and in some cases, the 2D path is more productive. If you're an engineer used to working in 2D, it's much easier for you to start working in 3D with BricsCAD than with any other tool, because you just follow the same pattern. And this is one of the good things, that you keep everything in one format. We want to be convinced every year by our supplier why to buy the new one. It's a more equal partnership with the provider of such an important thing as your software. This is the reason why we like to have software that we really purchase.
So Hristo's team at Prototyp uses 85 licenses of BricsCAD Pro, Platinum, and Ultimate. And as I said earlier, BricsCAD Platinum includes both BIM and mechanical workflows. So imagine producing manufacturing-ready documentation from a 3D BIM model. You can with BricsCAD Ultimate. But one more thing, something that Hristo said that links back to the Mazda story. And I'll quote him. In some cases, the 3D path is more productive, and in some cases, the 2D path is more productive. If you're an engineer used to working in 2D, it's much easier for you to start working in 3D with BricsCAD than with any other tool, because you just follow the same intuitive pattern. High praise indeed. And speaking of BIM, since Mr. Gunchev mentioned it, we offer an alternative building information modeling workflow that's turning heads today in the industry. Our workflow is based on industry standard DWG for interoperability and lower training costs. We're based on open BIM standards and IFC certified by Building Smart International. Now, you can create associative construction and manufacturing drawings with the most complete 2D drafting tool set ever, and potentially best of all, fair pricing and the most flexible licensing in the industry today. So now you've heard from 3 of our customers about how BricsCAD works for them. I'm going to turn the stage over to Julie, and she can show you just how familiar and compatible BricsCAD is. Julie, take it away.
BricsCAD is highly compatible with the user interface and user experience that AutoCAD users know and love, so it's easy to learn. And it comes predefined with workspaces for drafting, modeling, mechanical design, and BIM. The user interface looks very familiar, and it delivers all the information that you need to be productive right away. Dockable panels by default are displayed along the right side edge for properties, layers, customized tool palettes, our 24/7 cloud service, and more. The command prompt layout is fully adjustable to meet your working style. It can even float. The layout tabs are where you'd expect, and we've added a layout manager to help you create and organize your layout tabs. BricsCAD's familiar status bar lets you control those workspaces, as well as tracking and snap settings and much more. Now, here's the most important part of the BricsCAD user experience. Command names, aliases, and system variables are the same in BricsCAD as they are in AutoCAD, so you don't have to relearn anything to use BricsCAD today. And your drawings, they are totally compatible. Just open them and go. Remember, they are DWGs. There's no need to change your drawing templates or blocks, page setups, printer setups, or sheet set layouts to move to BricsCAD. They are all fully compatible. So reuse those customizations that you've already created. You never need to start from scratch when you move to BricsCAD. But BricsCAD is more than just compatible with AutoCAD. BricsCAD offers unique tools to help you do more in less time, including machine learning and AI-based workflows. The BricsCAD Quad Cursor menu is an AI-based tool palette and a heads-up display right at your cursor. It predicts the command you'll likely need next based on the way you use BricsCAD. Since the Quad gives you all the commands you need automatically, use the clean screen mode to maximize your drawing area. BricsCAD offers a 2D dynamic UCS, so it's never been easier to draw 2D entities while keeping track of true north. The nearest distance feature shows the distance between any two entities. Want to change the distance? Just type in a new value and you've implied a move command. Need to rotate, copy, move, or mirror drawing elements? Hold the pick button down a bit longer and the manipulator appears. It offers all the standard copy and displacement commands without any command input. The manipulator can be used with both 2D entities and 3D solids. You can use dynamic blocks created in AutoCAD directly inside of BricsCAD. Import and access your block libraries from BricsCAD's tool palette panels, drag them into your drawings, and place them anywhere you want. Then you can stretch or control dynamic block visibility states just as they were defined in AutoCAD. Another BricsCAD AI feature is Blockify. It helps you organize and create the most efficient drawings possible in seconds. Here, this L bracket was created as 12 separate entities and copied across this drawing many times. With Blockify, just window select those entities. Blockify will scan the block database to see if there are any existing blocks that match your selection. If so, it will use that block to replace all the individual entities. If not, it will create a new block definition and then use it to replace the repeating geometry. The power of AI can also help you create smarter drawings. The copy guided command analyzes the geometry around your selection set and creates a set of guide curves. As you'll see here, those are represented by those blue arrows. Then it automatically aligns those entities to relevant geometry as they are copied. With copy guided, there's no need to zoom in or use object snaps. You don't even need to trim lines after the copy. BricsCAD and copy guided do that automatically. If we decide we don't want one of the valves, simply use copy guided again with the geometry you want to replace it with, and it's gone. Copying geometry to a new location has never been easier or more accurate. Changing from the drafting workspace to the modeling workspace provides easy access to 3D modeling tools. BricsCAD offers intuitive push-pull direct modeling for creating and editing solids and surfaces. Direct modeling is much more flexible than conventional history-based modelers. If you're familiar with 3D modeling, you'll be right at home modeling in BricsCAD. You can start with primitive shapes, 2D profiles, or imported geometry. Anything you can create can be extruded, swept, or revolved into shapes using commands and workflows you already know. And because all the BricsCAD editions are built on one common platform, these tools are consistent across the editions. If you're new to 3D, you'll find that BricsCAD's direct modeling approach works intuitively, like digital clay with full CAD accuracy. Add the power of BricsCAD's 3D constraint engine and the import-export capabilities of the BricsCAD Communicator add-on, there's nothing you can't create in BricsCAD. With Communicator, you can import and export the top MCAD neutral and native file formats such as STEP, IGES, CATIA, Inventor, and SolidWorks, to name just a few. If you're modeling in 3D, you'll need a reliable way to create 2D detail drawings from your 3D creations. BricsCAD generates fully associative drawing views directly from your model, and you have total control over the layout and style of the views you generate, so you can produce sheets like this. BricsCAD can also generate fast draft quality views that can be regenerated as full detail views using all the cores in your computer CPU. Now that's modern CAD performance. But don't believe me? Try it for yourself. Remember, you can download a full license of BricsCAD for your 30-day trial from Bricsys.com. Now, Don, did you want to talk a little bit more on the compatibility of BricsCAD?
Well, Julie, you know me, of course I do. Hang on one moment, please. Let me get my screen back. Real quickly, because Robert's going to talk more about this too in just a few minutes, but I think it's important to note that not only is BricsCAD visually compatible with your current CAD solution, but it's also based on the current DWG standard. Same one as AutoCAD 2021. Files just open and save normally. We're a part of the Open Design Alliance, 1,200 strong member consortium that ensures that there's always access to your intellectual property stored in the drawing files that your company creates. We give you real choice. 100% command compatible, menu compatible, macro and script compatible, and as Robert will discuss, all of your support files from your current AutoCAD installation just load in BricsCAD. Now, Julie mentioned the fact that we can actually use all the cores in your CPU. Think about that. CAD is intrinsically single-threaded. However, BricsCAD supports multi-threaded, multi-processor operations in specific areas to really speed product performance for file loads, drawing generation, section view generation and refinement, mass properties calculations, rendering, and other computationally intensive tasks. And then finally, BricsCAD leverages the power of artificial intelligence. You know, this whole AI thing is really overplayed sometimes, but we truly make use of AI through machine learning techniques to help automate and streamline all those laborious tasks that you have to perform on a daily basis. We let you create more accurate designs faster with fewer keystrokes. And that's what productivity is all about. That's what modern CAD platforms deliver. We like to say that whatever you do, BricsCAD can help you do it better and faster for less money. All right, I'm going to switch over to my colleague, Robert Green, and BricsCAD customer and CAD manager, Vince Venus. They're going to discuss the migration to BricsCAD at Gas Liquids Engineering Limited in Alberta, Canada.
I'd like to thank my guest, Vince Venus. He's a CAD manager but in Alberta, Canada, and they're undertaking the move to BricsCAD. So Vince, could you just briefly introduce yourself and tell us who you work for and what your title is?
Sure. My name is Vince Venus, and I'm the CAD manager at Gas Liquids Engineering Limited in Calgary, Alberta. I've got over 30 years of experience in the industry and started out on AutoCAD 9. I've had as many as 100 designers in our drafting department at one point, which was a challenge. Company I work for is a privately owned engineering firm, currently comprised of about 230 or so engineers and designers, and we provide regional, international engineering from our Calgary offices, and we've been doing that since 1987. We also deal with refrigeration, gas processing, power generation, liquids fractionation, and stuff like that.
Cool. So it's pretty broad spectrum of users and products that you've got to manage there, right?
Oh yeah.
So am I correct in thinking that your initial exposure to BricsCAD was with CADWorks?
It was actually. Well, I shouldn't say 100%. I mean, it had floated around a little bit, and I kind of got a little bit of a wind of it from my reseller. So we started looking at it, and then Hexagon bought Bricsys, and then it really started rolling.
So what interested you the most? Was it feature parity with AutoCAD? Was it pricing? What was it that really made you interested?
Probably a bit of a combination, both of the features and the fact that it was so much like AutoCAD. And of course, the pricing was a lot better, because we all know how the Autodesk pricing has been going over the last few years.
And you guys use network multi-user licensing scheme, right?
Yeah, we've got a lot of them.
So that's another change that you're having to navigate this year?
Well, not yet. I think they're leaving that option open until sometime next year, but it's coming. You know?
So I believe that's one of the reasons you're interested in moving more thoroughly over to BricsCAD is to maintain that network licensing capability.
That's one of them, and just the overall cost as well. I mean, even now with the multi-user licenses that Autodesk has, I mean, that maintenance cost has been creeping up quite a bit.
Right. So I'll just go ahead and ask you the $64,000 question then. How does BricsCAD measure up against AutoCAD from your point of view?
I'd say they're pretty equal as far as what we do with it. I mean, there's been some initial resistance from some of my users when I first ran the pilot project in 2019. I mean, they had the light colored menu, which really didn't go over well with them after what they've been using, right? But the BricsCAD developers are really good at listening, and they got feedback from their customer base, and then they developed a nice dark theme for 2020. So
yep.
I really like how familiar it feels, and it's easy to learn.
So what has you mentioned that there's pushback, and I think that's any human being doesn't really want to change anything they don't have to. But once you've gotten people through that initial push, are they pretty receptive to it? Have you really had a lot of problems getting BricsCAD going?
I have not. I'm probably blessed with some of the best designers I've ever worked with, and not just tooting our own horn. They're all very smart people. They're all very receptive. We explain them why we're changing, and they go about, as long as they can do their work, they're okay.
Yeah. Now, so you're a CAD manager. You're technical. I mean, we've talked over the years at various conferences. Have you had a chance to really migrate over some of your customized content and see how that functions in the BricsCAD environment?
Actually, I've migrated pretty much all of it.
Okay.
All of our tool palettes, they were really easy to move over. We've got a ton of Lisp stuff that I ported over. That was also really quite straightforward and didn't really run into too many problems at all.
Yeah, it's kind of surprising. That's one of the big questions I get is like, oh yeah, sure, the Lisp will work, sure. And it does. It really does. Did you have any issues with pathing or getting BricsCAD configured in a similar manner to your AutoCAD environment?
I mean, the interface that they use is, it's night and day from the one that I've been using for 30 years with Autodesk. So that took a little bit of getting used to. It's just a different hierarchy that they like to use. But
you mean the settings command specifically?
Yeah, like the way that's set up. It was a bit of a learning curve for me, but nothing that we couldn't get through.
Okay, so if you had to rewind the tape and go back and think through it, how would you categorize the migration experience? Good, bad, somewhere in the middle. How did it go?
Oh, I would say it went a lot better than I initially thought. I was prepared for a lot more bumps in the road, which didn't really happen.
Okay. Well, I mean, it usually pays to be paranoid sooner or later. Stay paranoid long enough, and eventually you'll be right?
Yeah, correct.
Okay, so right now you're running some kind of mixture of CADWorks and BricsCAD just in a standalone mode, and you're going to be moving everybody over, or are you going to maintain a hybrid environment with some of each?
I'm going to have all the CADWorks design work moved over to the BricsCAD platform by this fall.
Okay.
As well as some of the miscellaneous 2D drawing production. We've still got our Civil 3D guys still using Civil 3D.
Okay.
I got to look at some alternatives for that at some point as well, but okay. I think one thing at a time.
Yeah. So all in all, it seems like the BricsCAD ecosystem is going to come in and mainly displace your conventional CAD.
It is.
CAD and LTE type of environment. So, yep. So everything went along fairly smoothly for you, it sounds like, and just, I know I tried to offer you some help at different times and you didn't need it.
No, I appreciated the reach out a few times, but it's like, yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, and that's So yeah, maybe we could just put our CAD manager hats on for a minute. What would you say to other CAD managers that are hesitant about taking a look at BricsCAD? How would you start? If you had to go back and do it again, how would you go through this process?
I don't think I would change anything with my process. I think other CAD managers out there, I think they really owe it to themselves to give it a second look. It's a great product. They've done a great job, and I'm really excited to see what direction it's going to go in. It should be good.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask something kind of about the cost of it. Did you take the concept of BricsCAD to your senior management, or did senior management ask you about BricsCAD and cost reduction?
No, I pretty much took it to them. We're fairly autonomous in that my department, we prepare our own budget every year. We keep the senior management informed of what the budget looks like, any software increases that are going to happen and whatnot. And, we saw the writing on the wall as far as cost increases is concerned. And so we were proactive, and then it was like, you know what, we're just going to start moving to BricsCAD and save us a whole bunch of money.
So you would recommend that CAD managers get involved in the financial piece of this, right? Wink?
Well, they should be. Yes. I mean, it's one of the attractive features of it for sure.
Yeah. Well, it's been a pleasure to work with you. I wish I could have offered you more help, but you were so good at getting everything running that my job was really easy. So, and anything you'd like to add before we sign off?
No, I think that's pretty much all I'm busy with some other stuff right now, so I haven't been able to actually play with BricsCAD for the last few weeks, but
it'll come back to you. But thank you very much for your time. We really appreciate it.
Oh, you're quite welcome. Anytime, Robert.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
All right. Bye.
We'd like to thank Vince again for his time. It's really been a pleasure working with him in his implementation. My name is Robert Green, and I'm the Director of Implementation at Brixis. I'd like to take the opportunity as we close out the session today to tell you about another customer implementation I worked on, and as we do that, to explain our proof of concept service offering. The company that we worked with is called Subsea 7. They're headquartered out of Aberdeen, Scotland, and they do underwater oil and gas facilities management. I was able to actually visit with them at their Aberdeen and Houston locations to get BricsCAD working for them. I'll not read you the entire quote here, but you can see here what Laura Lee Connors, the CAD drafting manager for Subsea 7 at their Houston location, said. She was able to use her AutoCAD experience to very, very quickly get on top of the customization and management of BricsCAD. And so within a very short time frame, more on that later, we were able to roll out 210 network licenses of BricsCAD to support over 1,000 of their users. And the thing that I'm most proud of is we were able to make the transition so seamless that no additional user training was required throughout the process. Next slide, please. Yeah, to undertake this process, we utilized what we like to call our proof of concept service strategy. What we do with this is we familiarize the company's users with BricsCAD so they don't perceive it as a threat. They see exactly how compatible and friendly it is, as Julie has shown you. We explore licensing options. We perform migration of custom assets so that we can make BricsCAD appear like your old CAD system. Then we work with them to develop implementation, deployment strategies, and learning strategies. What I've learned over the years, my experience as a CAD manager, is that success is never an accident. It's the result of having a strategy. Now, we will work with your company to determine what your best licensing and deployment strategy is going to be. And how do we do that? Well, we help you understand your options by using our your licenses, your way philosophy. Now, in Subsea 7's case, we were able to roll out 210 network multi-user licenses to replace their existing token flex system, saving them a lot of money in the process. We were able to get their license servers deployed for redundancy, both in the US and United Kingdom.
And then we were able to create a standard deployment MSI and add-on package with all their custom files to be pushed via their SCCM IT push control strategy. This entire package was about 420 megabytes in size, so you can imagine how quickly that deploys across your network. We created some scripts to provide a silent install experience, so 0 user interaction was required. Licenses were initialized. The users never had to do anything. BricsCAD simply installed at their next installation. Now, how long did it take us to do all this? Well, actual technical implementation, testing, and validation time was 7 calendar days. Most of this was done remote, but I did visit them at their Houston facility for 2 days for final testing. The rest of the time was really just coordination, dealing with purchasing, contracts, and trying to schedule the deployment around existing projects. But as you can see, that's a very rapid way to deploy some software. I'm very proud of that result. It was a pleasure working with them to get that result. So we understand that you're not simply going to switch to BricsCAD unless your customization and your custom workflows come over with it. So we understand that we need to translate your custom assets. And that's why we make sure that we can bring over your CUIs, your tool palettes, your list routines, your sheet sets, your templates, all the way up to your plotter and page setup configurations. The goal is your users should use BricsCAD the way they've used their existing system. If we do that in our proof of concept validation, you can be confident it will work. Now, we say that if you can use AutoCAD, you can use BricsCAD because everything is so familiar. Well, even your custom components and workflows. So here's what our approach looks like. We use the command compatible language, a compatible interface. We bring over your custom tools. And what this does is it allows us to achieve what we like to call muscle memory compatibility. So your users simply sit down and start using BricsCAD the way they have always used their existing CAD system. This means that they train in hours, not days or weeks, but hours. In fact, I train a lot of people over lunch break. The approach that we use is a parallel installation that allows us to compare A to B. So we can validate our proof of concept easily by switching between the systems. So we actually test BricsCAD while you're running your old system. We establish all the same network folders, we migrate your customization, we replicate your peripherals, and we achieve a clean, minimal migration that gives you a fresh start with BricsCAD. It's really that simple. Now, we also understand that part of this experience is building a training framework, how your users are going to be able to accept and explore and start to use BricsCAD and get up to speed quickly. Here's how we do it. We always stress the familiar interface. We use your actual DWG files in actual project context using your actual standards and custom workflows. Our training concepts are not based in theory. It's not, here's how you might do this. It's here's how you will do it, because we've migrated all your settings over and we're making BricsCAD look like your existing system. That's proof of concept. So what's the result of all of this? It's a really high return on your investment. Why? Well, for the following reasons. First of all, BricsCAD is very affordable in the first place. And with our network and perpetual licensing schemes, it's even more affordable. We'll bring over your custom assets. This will lower your training costs, and due to our extreme compactness and rapid deployment capabilities, we'll lower your IT costs too. Look, it all adds up to a great return on investment with BricsCAD. If you dig in and explore the possibilities of BricsCAD, I think you'll have to agree with me. It really is easy to go from A to B. You really can switch from your existing CAD system to BricsCAD. Let us show you how, and let us help you. So let me advance to the next slide, and I'll show you some resources you can use to be in touch with us. You can email us, trybricscad@bricsys.com. You can look at our events page where you can see the recording of, say, this session, or you can also look at the recording of our prior sessions and catch up if you're just joining us recently. You can also contact your local BricsCAD reseller by going to the contact pages. And of course, you can always download BricsCAD Ultimate from the Bricsys website itself. You'll have 30 days to explore all the possibilities. If you need any assistance, please reach out to us. We're happy to help you. So on behalf of Don and Julie and the entire team at Bricsys and the entire BricsCAD product team, I'd like to thank you for joining us today. We'll hang around and moderate any questions you may have online. We hope to see you in the future. Thanks again. Talk to you soon.